it's time for the main event. And if you have ever watched horse racing on big days on the national scale, you know this man, you've heard his voice, handicapper, host, horse racing ambassador extraordinaire. Very excited to bring in Randy Moss. Randy, I wish we had more time in the segment to talk and to shoot it a little bit with you, but how's everything going on your end?
Everything's going great. You're too kind. Some good races to look forward to on Saturday. Maybe some sunshine for a change here in South Florida. So we're ready to roll.
Well, let's get right on into it. Let's go horse by horse. We start with Mixto, who won the Pacific Classic earlier this year, but was kind of a soft renewal of the Pacific Classic. A little bit more of a grinder in here, Randy. Do you think he can step up and compete with a group like this?
Consistent horse. I look at him as like a 98 buyer speed figure type horse at best. I think it's going to take maybe a 103, 104. The best thing to say about him is that he'll probably save a little ground, and also the 8 previous runnings of the Pegasus, none of the winners have at any point in the race been farther behind than 2 lengths. That includes Arrowgate. So you need to be up close in the mix, no pun intended, and at least he should be that.
And that will be good for the next horse, the number 2, Saudi Crown, because it does not look like there's that much early speed in here. And this one could be the fastest.
Yeah, I expect him to set the pace. Mixto has some speed too, though, and Frankie Dettori can get pretty aggressive at times on the dirt, and he breaks to the inside of Saudi Crown. The worst thing that could happen to Saudi Crown is if he doesn't really break that fast and Dettori sends Mixto up to the inside of him, and they wind up kind of going head and head. But at 9-2 right now, which is what Saudi Crown is in the line, I'm expecting him to be a much shorter price than that, but to me, that would be a great price for this horse.
New Grange comes into the Jose D'Angelo barn for the first time. If this race was being run last year around this time, he'd probably be a player, but he's kind of tailed off form, Randy, since then, and they're moving into a new barn now. He hasn't raced since July.
I'm surprised they're running him.
Me too.
He's had 2 breathing surgeries. Phil D'Amato, who had him in California, was not up with the program of shipping him east to run in the Pegasus World Cup, so they changed trainers. He's had 2 workouts in a month. If you can get down anywhere in Vegas on a last place finisher, this is your horse.
We move to the local favorite, Alexa. Talk to us a little bit about White Abario, who just is a real horse for course, and he got back to his form in the last couple races when he went home to Gulfstream Park.
Yeah, he has. He's done an amazing career, won over $5 million, won the Breeders' Cup Classic in 2023, Grade 1 Whitney, then had a bit colder of a year, some long layoffs after disappointing in Saudi Arabia and then again in Saratoga. But like you said, won in November here at Gulfstream, came back in the Grade 3 Mr. Prospector last month as a favorite and closed, didn't quite get there, got second. Did get a slow start that day. It looks like he's back on track, or maybe back on track, but I wouldn't say he's a super attractive bet at 3-1 with those recent inconsistencies.
Randy, I know you think Krupi is a horse who could maybe complete some of the bottom of the exotics in here.
Yeah, I think he can clunk up like he did last year. Last year he finished 3rd in this race. I think the pace was a lot faster last year than it will be this year. But he's training well. He'll probably lose some ground, which is not good. He likes to be on the outside. But, there are a couple horses in here I think that maybe aren't at their best, and Krupi could sneak into to the exotics at a decent price, I think.
Alexa, the Santa Anita Derby winner Stronghold seems to be improving. He comes off a career best buyer speed figure last time out.
He's knocking on the door for the last 7 months for a win. 3 second-place finishes, each time improving speed figures. Ran best ever out in the Grade 1 Malibu. That was a cutback in distance to 7 furlongs, but still, I think he's shown us that he can handle the long distance. And I think the race really could set up nicely for him. Hopefully he can be forwardly placed and get a leg up on the closing crew in here.
The next couple might be a bit of a long shot in this spot. Steel Sunshine's the Grade 2 Gulfstream Park Mile winner, but he just doesn't really want to go quite this far, and I don't know about at this level. Then you have Vitality, who's the Prince of Wales winner, won one of the Canadian Triple Crown races north of the border. But again, I think we need to see jump up at this level and compete. Randy, what do we do with Mystic Dan, the Kentucky Derby winner who came back and he was so flat in the Malibu? Do we just use that as a prep race and think he can shake some of the rust off?
I think you can't use him. I really don't. I don't think you can use him at all. Coming off the Belmont and the way he ran, and then after the break when they were encouraged by the way he was training, he was totally uncompetitive in the Malibu. He's going to have to show a lot more in this race for me to even look at him next time out. But Saturday, no.
And even if he were to get back to one of his better races, that's still not even really fast enough to compete with some of the races that the best in this race have run. So, and with that reputation being a Derby winner, he'll probably always get bet a little more than he should.
Exactly.
So not really a whole lot of value there with Mystic Dan. Alexa, you like Skippy Longstocking a little bit, though, in this spot.
I do. Timeform US also predicts to be the winner. Typically, his wins come on the front end and should, I think, be able to get that position pretty comfortably against these since there's not a whole lot of pace. And like Randy said, you really do want to be near the front in this race. Multiple graded stakes winner, but never been able to lock down that grade 1 win. He has run in this race the last 2 years, and those are like his 2 worst performances. So I don't love that pattern, but from a fitness, pace, and a figure standpoint, I think he looks great, especially at those 10-1 odds.
You said the word locked. That's the next horse in here who will probably be the betting favorite at post time. And Randy, this horse was actually favored in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile at 2. Then he missed most of his 3-year-old year, which was really disappointing. But when he showed back up, he's been a little bit bigger, a little bit better, a little bit more mature, good speed figures. And now he goes third start of the form cycle here.
If all things were equal, I would probably give him a slight edge over Saudi Crown. I don't like his post position, though. I think he could lose some ground on the turns in relation to Saudi Crown, and B, he might be a little farther back than you would want him to be in a perfect world in a race at Gulfstream with a short stretch like the Pegasus.
Rounding out the field, Alexa is Power Squeeze. She's the lone filly facing the boys. She is a grade 1 winner, but she's a little light on speed figures.
She is. I mean, multiple grade 6 winner, but never run a performance fast enough to contend. So I'm going to pass.
So as we finish up with the World Cup, we move to Randy for selections. I think we're all kind of looking for the horse down on the inside to control things, Randy. So we hope that Saudi Crown's going to get out there and get aggressive.
Yeah, I think that's why I give him the edge. I think he's got a pace advantage. He's got a good post position for that kind of a style. He's 9-2 in the program. If he's even 4-1 or 7-2, I think he's a really, really good value play. I think Locke will come along for second, and underneath him and all the exotics, I'm going to stick, Croupy in there, Stronghold in there, maybe throw a little Mixtos and Skippy Longstocking in there too. But I think the big 2 are Saudi Crown and Locke.
When we return, we'll talk pick 5. Alexa and I will go over some of the horses we're going to use in the pick 5 ticket. Randy, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to be watching you 4:30 p.m. Saturday on Peacock and on NBC. Good luck with all your plays.
This was fun. You too. Take care.